Hello, and welcome to the Aspen Ideas Festival. I'm Brittany Luce, co-host and executive producer of podcasts like For Colored Nerds and The Nod. I have an amazing panel with me today. We are going to talk about the future of the creator economy. And joining me is Robert Kyncl, Chief Business Officer at YouTube, Cassey Ho of Blogilates, and Andrew Ray of the Babish Culinary Universe. All right, so to get started, Andrew and Cassey, thank you so much for joining us today. Big fan on both of your channels on my end. So I really want to learn more about what it means to be a YouTube creator and the businesses that you each built. So if you could each tell me, what is your day job and how do you explain what you do for a living to other people? Cassey, we'll start with you.
This is seriously one of the hardest questions I have to answer because it has to be a different answer based on who you are answering. I sometimes tell people I'm a fitness instructor, sometimes I'm a YouTuber, sometimes I'm a designer. That one's usually the easiest to understand. But in actuality of it all, I spend a lot of my time designing products, activewear, fitness gear, dumbbells, gym bags, water bottles, all that kind of stuff. And in the other part of my time, I'm creating content. I'm creating workout plans and fitness videos, and then filming that, getting it ready for YouTube. So it's a lot of different things, but I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like creating content that then kind of becomes marketing for your product. So I guess that's kind of like the easiest way to understand from a business sense what's going on. But yeah, I'm a lot of different things. I'm an entrepreneur, I guess you could say.
Andrew, what about you?
Well, it really depends on the age of the person that I'm telling. If you're under 35, I'm probably just going to say I'm a YouTuber because you know the deal. If you're over 35 or if you look way over 35, probably going to say something more like I make cooking videos or I host a cooking show. And that way, we're all on the same level. Like Cassey said, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a cookware line out. I am making a tortilla, a sombrero out of tortilla chips from Despicable Me
As you do.
1 minute, and then the next minute I'm negotiating with a sponsor, and the next minute after that I'm closing on a piece of land, or just there's a lot of moving parts in a growing YouTube business like Cassey and I have.
Amazing. So to get more into the business, Robert, you're the Chief Business Officer at YouTube, which means that you work with people like Andrew and Cassey all the time. Like, you're obviously familiar with the creator economy. So tell us, what exactly is the creator economy and why it matters?
Thanks. First, thanks for having me, and I'm really excited to talk about this topic because I think while maybe in the last 6 months the topic has taken off and everybody's talking about it, this creator economy has actually been here for 13 to 15 years and has been building up. Both Cassey and Andrew, they've been at it for a while. They're not like just overnight sensations. This has been a labor of love and lots of hard work for them for a long time. The simple way to think about it is within the YouTube ecosystem. 50% of all of YouTube's watch time is coming from content created by creators, 25% by artists, like musical artists, and 25% from media companies. And artists and media companies, they were here before the internet and before YouTube. Creators is sort of the new wave of content creation that hasn't really existed because of the closed nature of television channels, before the internet, or even close nature of Netflix and Amazon and sort of the subscription services. So in my opinion, creator economy is the result of an open system, open platform like YouTube, where anyone can publish, and amazing creators like Andrew and Cassey are able to get a large audience, build that audience, monetize it through YouTube ads and subscriptions and all of the different products that we have, but also expand horizontally, because now that they're brands and they have a big following, they start expanding horizontally, just like any other brand does, into different products, whether they're media companies like what Andrew's talking about, or it's like Cassey getting into design and owning a product line and then distributing it whether online or in physical retail, it is brand building at its best. So what we're seeing is just an absolute explosion in the opportunities to monetize a creator brand. And there are so many different platforms that are investing into the tools to do that. But first and foremost comes having a brand, having a following, having an audience, and that's what creators have learned how to do, and that's how differentiate themselves from, let's say, actors or or different movie stars, right? Because they're not responsible for their own audiences, but in case of creators, they are. And by now, it has developed into a massive economy. If I just reference some of the stats that we released recently, in the last 3 years, YouTube paid out $30 billion to the creator economy. So you can see how significant that is already, and it's growing very rapidly.
Thank you very much for that, by the way. We appreciate it.
Andrew got 29 of the 30. He's well
I mean,
but the significance behind it is that creators, in my opinion, creators in the future, creators rising through the creator economy will be earning more than any other creative force because of the sort of vertical and horizontal monetization that I was just talking about, and that both of these guys are a great example of.
wow. I mean, that's an incredible dollar amount that, that YouTube has been able to pay out to creators. I also want to get a sense of scale. Like, how many jobs does the creator economy create?
We think about it in two different ways. One is what's our direct contribution, right? So that's kind of what I was just talking about, the $30 billion in the last 3 years. But then there's also the indirect one, which is when creators start building, we call them the next generation media companies, for simplicity. And so when these next generation media companies are building out their business, they're hiring employees, they're renting studios, they're renting offices. There's a contribution to the local and national economy that they're creating. And we always struggled in how we can think about that. So we conducted a whole bunch of research studies with third parties. And for instance, in the US, so we have 2 million people, 2 million creators participating in the YouTube Partner Program, people who are getting paid from YouTube. And the ecosystem has contributed approximately 16 billion to the US GDP in 2019. So this is counting the direct and indirect contribution that I was just talking about, and it supported the equivalent of 345,000 full-time jobs. And that's the kind of impact that we like to see from the creator economy, because it goes far beyond just a very direct thing that we do, and we think it's truly changing the world. This is small businesses growing bigger and contributing and creating a lot of independent folks who are just become the backbone of the economy.
I mean, Robert has just described this huge economy, creating 345,000 US jobs. But, Andrew and Cassey, you've both been longtime creators who helped to build this economy. So talk to me about how your businesses have grown on YouTube. Andrew, we'll start with you.
I am, of those 345,000 jobs, I am very, very excited to say that I employ 4 people. It's small, but it's a drop in that ocean. But I employ my best friends, who are extremely knowledgeable and talented, and we've created a little cottage industry here in my basement. This is my basement, in my dream home that I've been able to buy thanks to becoming a YouTuber. And it's really special to feel like, we're able to give opportunities to those around us, be it our friends or, a recent college grad. My kitchen producer, her name is Kyncl. She has just graduated from CIA, and straight out of college, she's going into a very well-paying job where she's not getting screamed at by a kitchen manager or, whatever horrible thing happens in commercial kitchens, it's pretty rough in there. So we're we're really happy to be able to bring new people into this team, and there's going to be a lot more opportunities in the future as we get into hospitality. So
You've been able to use, your corner of the creator economy to create the kind of workplace that you think that people deserve.
the kind of workplace that I was lucky enough to have. Really, I worked for a small visual effects company, and I was treated very well by people who really treated me like family and helped me grow. Really, I wouldn't be here without them. So it's very nice to be able to sort of continue that positivity in the workplace.
Absolutely. And Cassey, what about you? How has your business grown with YouTube?
Oh my gosh. YouTube, like I said, is the home base of everything. And I really wouldn't be where I am today without YouTube, without building that loyal customer base. But first, it started out as just, fans. And I didn't even understand what fans really were back in 2009 when I was uploading videos just to stay connected to my real life students when I was moving cross country. But building that fan base, I still remember the first time somebody asked, can I have a shirt with Blogilates on it? And I was like, why in the world would you want a shirt with my screen name on it? Like, that's really weird. But at the same time, that's when it clicked with me that, oh my gosh, this is becoming a brand. And so I remember buying some like ribbed t-shirts from Forever 21 and getting a local screen printer and making 50 shirts. We had a little design contest online, and then like they sold out within like a minute of posting, and I was like, whoa, like people want this stuff. But what they really wanted too was to become part of your story, to become part of your journey, because creators have this very special relationship they have with their fans. We connect with them, whether it's through cooking or through workouts. People want to be a part of that story, and they're also excited for you because they care about you when they see you achieve new goals or get into retail stores. Like, they're excited for that. And because of that very, very special and authentic relationship that I have with my fans, that I'm just like, I would never do anything to damage it, because that is the social currency. Because of that, the products sell out almost every time I post about them. We now employ 10 full-time employees. We work with 20 to 30 contractors from literally all over the world. And just this past year, our business has grown so fast. It's just been insane. And really, without YouTube, without that direct connection to the people that I'm, I guess, influencing or teaching or whatever you want to call it, I just really wouldn't be where I am today.
I wouldn't be where I am today either, obviously, without YouTube. I am first and foremost primarily a YouTuber. And I started making videos because I was depressed. Sorry to get real on this, light chat about the creator economy, but I was like struggling with massive depression and started making videos as a creative outlet to start making things again. I went to film school and I wasn't making movies. I wasn't, making anything. And it was a creative outlet that really changed my life, both, by becoming my dream job and also just helping me connect with new people. And Cassie's absolutely right. The connection with our audience is unlike anything that I think has ever existed. I assume people come up and just say hi on the street all the time, because they feel like they can. I always equate my level of notoriety to Wayne Knight, who played Newman on Seinfeld, who, if you saw him in a restaurant, you'd be like, oh my God, that's Wayne Knight. But if you see me or Cassey in a restaurant, they're going to come up and say, oh my God, I love your show. And that just like illustrates how connected people feel to us and how personally they feel like we're friends, and we kind of are. It's a very connected community.
Yep, totally agree.
To that point, you guys each have like many millions of YouTube subscribers. You can count me among that number for both of you, and you've both been incredibly successful, each in your own right. What's the end goal? Like, what does long-term success look like in the creator economy?
Long-term success, and I've always thought about this from the very beginning, is being able to let your brand kind of outlive you. Because I want to get to a point where, for example, my products can sell themselves because they're cute, they are good quality, and I don't need to push it anymore. Now, look, of course, I'm going to use my products in my videos because I love them, and I would never release anything that I don't genuinely can't stand behind, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? But if I can get the Blogilates brand or the Popflex brand for my apparel to just like have a cult following on its own because of the product itself, to me, that is really long-term success.
Mm.
Absolutely agree. I just released, or I'm in the process of releasing my cookware line. So also have been
Mm.
working on getting physical products out there. Thank you. I just put out some knives and tongs and just some prepware for the kitchen. We've got cookware coming, and like Cassie said, I want to create a brand that outlives me, uh, both by putting out these products and having them take on a life of their own, but also by bringing on new personalities on the channel, making the channel more than just my torso. Bring some other torsos in here. We actually have a bunch of new people coming in. We made a show with Soleil Whaley, 10 episodes that came out earlier or later last year. And we've got a new show coming out with Rick Martinez, who's living in a beautiful coastal town in Mexico called Mazatlan, where he's just going to be sharing his adventures and some of the. It's called Pruébalo, which means try this, and I love that name. It's so cool. So I want the platform to live on. I want it to be almost like a microcosm of all the things that are great about YouTube. YouTube gives a voice to anybody with a phone or a camera and an internet connection. And I want to be able to use the platform that I've built within YouTube to give a voice to creators that have something unique to offer.
Well, I just want to connect two dots, which is you see, like in both of their cases, it's kind of like the same long-term plan, which is really very consistent with being a next generation media company. Media companies have multiple brands under them that survive, right? And when you just listen to the answers, it's the same thing. How does this brand survive me? How does this brand survive me? How does it live on? Basically, how do you create sort of perpetual businesses that continue irrespective whether you're on camera or not, or in front of a camera or not, right? At this point.
I just wanted to say that next generation media company sounds so much better than influencer. So thank you very
Yeah.
much for coining that.
Well, I mean, you guys are, right? Like, look at you. Like, you have employees, right? You are in college grads, from like the best schools in the fields. Like, you're doing what other companies do. You create, product lines, right? Like, you're just reaching the audiences in a new way. But you're doing it in a way that's going really rapidly. But you are doing what media companies have done. Warner Brothers also has a merchandising division. Disney has a merchandising division. Both of you guys have a merchandising division, right? Right. So it's very you're very much going in that direction.
Thank you. And Andrew, I
Thank you.
completely agree with you. I despise the term influencer. I'm just like, based on, well, what are you influencing and why are you influencing? Where do you come from? Why do you have this authority to influence? Like, I just, that term just bothers me so much. I don't like it.
Yeah, it not only does it have a strange connotation, but also just over the past few years, it's become a dirty word. When I hear influencer, I think all those things, and I think somebody who's trying to sell me supplements in exchange for a free night in a hotel or something like that. Just it's just like people who leverage their subscribers to get free stuff, and I'm like, yeah.
So to that end,
I like it.
next generation media company, I really like that. I might even find a way to use that myself. But thinking about the next generation media companies, like every year there is a survey that shows that YouTube creator is the number one career goal for young Americans. How optimistic are you about the opportunities for creators who are just now getting started? That next generation of media companies. Talk to me about that. Andrew, we'll start with you.
People do ask me very often, I'm starting a YouTube channel. How do I, X, Y, and Z? And my usual advice is the same advice that I give to brands that I work with. We do a lot of product placement. That sounds wrong. Integrations. We do a lot of integrations on the channel, and I give them the same advice, which is that you need to create a genuine product, something that's a reflection of who you actually are, not what you think everybody wants you to be. It's kind of like the same advice you get in middle school when you don't know how to talk to anybody or make friends. Maybe that's just me. But back in middle school, I was just like, how do I people? And everyone was just like, be yourself. And it's the hardest advice to get back then, but it's like the only way that you can succeed in this new media landscape, because like everybody's already done it. There's two or three other channels on YouTube that make food from movies and television, but I brought my perspective to it, and people gravitated towards it. It's a lot of luck and a lot of hard work and all that stuff. And the only way that you're going to rise to the top of the din of millions of people that are trying to be the next thing on YouTube is to be yourself and bring a unique and genuine product to the market that is either showing something new or saying something new in your voice that hasn't been done before.
I super agree with that. It's about bringing your flavor to the table. And yeah, of course, people have been doing cooking videos or ab exercises since the beginning of time, but it's how you teach it and how do you relate to your audience when you teach it that way. It's the same thing at the gym, pre-pandemic when there were group fitness classes, but you gravitate to the instructor who kind of knows how to motivate you, kind of like, gel together. And the one that, like I don't like instructors that like just constantly yell at me and make me feel bad. So I don't go to her class, but maybe I'll go to someone who's more encouraging. So it's about, again, being you, being authentic to the max, and that's going to set you apart. And, even though there's a lot more competition out there, of course, on YouTube and on all the other social media platforms, you also now have examples that you can follow by. Do you know what I mean? Like when I first started, it was just kind of like throwing things out there. I don't know what a fan is. I don't really understand what a subscriber is. Like, I don't know anything about editing, but now you have these examples that you can like test and play. And I think it's important to not be afraid to fail and just like actually put something out there. And even if it's just on your iPhone, it doesn't look like a perfect TV show, there's a beauty to that too, because it feels super real. And I think right now rawness is really important to people because, as we discussed with the influencer thing, things are just starting to feel really curated and fake. Even when people try to feel, sound real, there can almost be like a curated realness to that, like calculated. So I think the more authentic and weird almost that you can be, the better.
Yeah, you should be ready to put something out that gets 0 views, but if you're happy with it and you're proud of it and you think that it's representing the best of what you can put out there, then it was worth making, even if it doesn't get a single view.
Yeah.
So if you start with that foundation, then just keep plugging at it, and you'll get there.
So
Basically, what you're saying is don't only chase the views, because if you do that, it sends you off your North Star, right? Like have a North Star first, stick to it, and figure out how you grow alongside that rather than just chase the views and veer off of your North Star.
Yeah, that's super true. It's like if you're trying to find a really truly fulfilling career, don't just chase the money, same thing here. Don't just chase the subscribers or the views because you lose your sense of soul. And I think the intention of the content you put out there is the most important thing. And fans can see right through that.
Robert, I wanna get your perspective as somebody who is thinking long term about how YouTube can support and continue to invest in its current creators and the next generation of creators. Talk to me about that continued investment that YouTube is putting into its creators.
So on the viewer front, one of the things that we've been doing for the last 10 years is make sure that we're embedded on every possible device with a screen and that YouTube works consistently across those devices. Like in these 2 sentences is so much work that I just described, because the word consistent across all of those is incredibly hard, because every device maker, whether it's a set-top box, TV manufacturer, phone, multiple different operating systems, everybody wants different rules, just tremendous amount of complexity. So we work really hard to be as distributed as possible so that people can just get YouTube on any device with a screen, and then make sure that it all works consistently, that the view counts, the subscriber counts, the ads, everything, that it's all consistent. So that's been a huge amount of work, and the fruit of that labor has actually been paying off. Obviously on mobile, paid off in a big way in the last decade, and now it's paying off really on living room devices, on TVs, whether it's set-top boxes connected to TVs or smart TVs directly. They have much slower replacement cycles than phones, but now we're starting to see so many TVs being connected, and it is by far the fastest growing surface for YouTube today. It's the television set, and so that's just one sample on the viewer front. There are many other activities that we do. But then really on the monetization front, how to monetize the audience on our platform. Obviously, our ads work continues, and that is something that we've mastered and been quite successful at it. We released last year. We generated $20 billion in ad revenue on YouTube in 2020. So you can imagine more than 50% of that is going to creators. So that's a very significant, contribution to the creator economy. But then on top of it, we've built other monetization tools such as YouTube Premium, where we have a lot of subscribers paying subscription. So obviously that's being passed down. We have memberships, so subscriptions to individual channels, which has been growing like gangbusters, and over the last 3 years. And then we have digital goods like super stickers or super chat, which are mostly applied during live streaming. So lots of creators who are really big on live streaming are taking advantage of those. So we keep on investing into monetization expansion and tools for creators, and keep on growing sort of the non-ads portion in addition to that. So, but basically well distributed and diversified suite of monetization products on the platform. And then the third piece is formats, right? We're currently going through a big rollout of Shorts, YouTube Shorts, and that's a new short form format that's just making it very easy to create content on the fly in extremely short format. We have a separate tab for it within the YouTube app, and it's very snappy and easy. And so we're having a lot of success with that already in the beta.
So YouTube's impact is very clear. It's not just economic, it also impacts culture. How are creators driving cultural innovation today? I think about how, there's, especially in the past year and a half, there's been a big boom in sort of like personal fitness and how people are, getting, like how they connect basically socially or parasocially with the person who's teaching their classes. And I think a lot of people have probably gotten a lot out of, the platform that you have, Cassey. And this whole idea of people doing fitness at home with somebody who's on YouTube or another streaming platform, or on, some sort of machine that they have that has people dancing and riding bicycles inside. This is a conversation that people are having now about how much they're enjoying those relationships that they've formed with people through fitness digitally. But that's something that you've been doing for a long time. It could be said that you kind of led the conversation on that. Same thing with you, Andrew. I've been watching your videos for years and seeing how sort of the Babish culinary universe has expanded beyond specifically making recipes that are fun takes on things that you would find on television shows or in movies. I'd like to know about like sort of that idea of cultural innovation, like how you guys have used your platforms to kind of expand your respective worlds.
No, seriously, it's so interesting because, like I mentioned in the beginning, I've been uploading YouTube fitness videos since 2009, right? So that's been super normal for me. But when the pandemic hit in 2020, subscribers went up like insanity because it was almost like it was the first time people discovered, oh, you could work out at home. And so the crazy thing is, what I've heard or I've learned is that it takes 21 days to create a habit. We had been in quarantine for way more than 21 days. And let me tell you, like before quarantine, I had a ClassPass membership. I actually was a part of a couple gyms. I didn't go for like a whole year. And now that, things have opened back up, especially in California, I'm actually still working out at home. And it's like, it is a cultural change that has happened, and YouTube did help that happen so that people can enjoy the things they used to have to do to go outside inside their own home. And so, yeah, it's been insane with the growth in home fitness this past year.
Likewise with the food space, everybody making their own sourdough starters and whatnot.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, even if it weren't my field or my day job, I cannot imagine having gone through quarantine without YouTube. It is a way that we all got to not only pick up new skills like sourdough or working out at the time I was in a living room that was about this wide by this wide. So, the sort of standing plyometric videos were very helpful. And so picking up new skills, but also just feeling connected with people, feeling like you can hang out with your YouTube friends, the crew that so many people have, I'm sure, said to you and have said to me as well, that your cooking videos. It sounds so weird to say out loud, but it has been said to me. Your cooking videos got me through quarantine, and I'm sure people have said your exercise videos have got me through quarantine. And that is such a meaningful statement and so indicative of how culturally important YouTube is. It's created these myriad micro communities that people can feel a part of and have ownership in.
What's the next evolution for your business? Like, what are you excited about that's coming next, Andrew?
Well, we have the cookware line coming out, and we're trying to expand as the world opens back up, expand into brick and mortar stuff. I'm opening an Airbnb called Bed and Babish. We're breaking ground in a couple of weeks.
That's amazing.
Everybody's reaction to that idea is what made me do it, because I would say the Bed and Babish, and the people would be like, "That's crazy." I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." So it's going to be an Airbnb up in the Catskills that is aimed at foodies, and we're hoping to open more locations throughout the country that are reflective of their communities and unique aspects of unique vacation destinations. So trying to get into the hospitality world both through that and through some brick and mortar experiences like restaurants and those kinds of IRL experiences and tours. Like experiential guided food tours. It's almost like Babish cons, which makes me feel weird to say, but just like, a weekend where you can buy a ticket and there will be lists of restaurants curated and live events and all different kinds of fun stuff like that. So very much trying to get back out in the world in ways that aren't just on folks' screens.
Certainly, I will let you know. You already have 2 people I can guarantee you who are interested in staying at a Bed and Babish in the
We need
Catskills.
beta testers, so shoot me an email.
Okay, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And Cassey, what about you?
First of all, I got to make a booking at your Airbnb. That sounds amazing. Okay, so you already have a customer there. For me, it's more design, making fitness cute across the board. And so when we launched at Target this past in December, we had 4 months on the end cap to try to prove ourselves that we could sell. Everything sold out within 3 weeks. It was insane.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that was the whole goal. Thank you. Because I wanted to get back into the store because nothing's certain, right? You have to prove yourself. And the thing is, right after that happened, the tables turned, and then Target came to me and was like, okay, what do you want to put on the shelves? And so we're actually back in stores in September, and we're back in stores on the end cap and inline for January 2022. So lots of design happening right now with the retail space, and then on my own like clothing stuff, like we're increasing the members on our design team. So I'm just so grateful, really, because my entire dream as a kid was to become a fashion designer, and who would have thought that through fitness videos on YouTube it would come back today? Like just the gratefulness in my heart for this platform is just beyond. I'm so grateful. Thank you, YouTube.
Amazing.
Congratulations, and I mirror your sentiments exactly. I wake up grateful every day. My childhood dream was to have a movie theater in my house, and now I do. So, but also to be a filmmaker, and now I get to be that. I get to be a content creator, which is the new word for filmmaker. So thank you very much, YouTube. As long as we got YouTube on the line here, Robert.
And Robert,
and my dream, and my dream would be to be a YouTube creator like you guys, so that I could build my brand.
Well, Robert, right now your brand is YouTube, so please tell us what's next for YouTube. What are you guys up to?
First and foremost, we want more creators who are just like these 2 guys here. It's like we want more of that, right? Because to see these stories, to see the success both on and off YouTube is just fantastic, right? That's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. So we want more and more creators reaching this kind of success, which means that they need to have larger audiences to reach, more ways to monetize, and more ways to talk to their creators. And we're working across all of those fronts. And we think that in addition to to sort of expanding formats with shorts and other ways. We also think that the retail market over the next 10 years will undergo a very significant change, and each YouTube channel will become a retail point, and that is really distributed retail is where things are headed, which again means more power to the creator economy. Right? Creators who build their audiences know how to talk to them, just like Cassey and Andrew were saying, right? And who revere them and the creators really take care of the audiences very carefully. Then they will be able to transact for their brands right there on their YouTube channels. And so we're working on a whole bunch of things in this area, and we just think that's the right direction across all platforms, and the creator economy is going to be larger than anyone can possibly imagine. So we just like to be the ones who play a really big role in it, and we'll invest it significantly to make sure we play even a greater one.
Wonderfully put. It's so wild. I remember being in college when YouTube, I think, was maybe you as in YouTube was named the Person of the Year on Time Magazine. And I remember there being like the little YouTube frame, and there was like a reflective coating on it so that you could see your face in it. And I remember that was my introduction to YouTube. And now, to be 13, 14 years later, to see just how much it's grown as a platform, and how much, even, Andrew and Cassey, you guys' channels have grown into these incredible businesses. It's really something remarkable. So,
well, it drives diversity. The U drives diversity, right? A diversity of creators, diversity of users, diversity of content. And when you have that, all of those good things that we were talking about start happening because they're unexpected, they're unusual. Nobody would have imagined them, and they're wonderful. So that's really what it's all about.
Well, I look forward to the future, and thank you so much, Andrew, Cassey, and Robert, for talking with me today.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brittany.